This video is about what I consider to be possibly the perfect out the front double action auto. And this is UTX-85. As you can see, this one is made of L-Max, and it has a drop point plain edge blade. And in my opinion, the drop point plain edge blade is the most utilitarian, the most practical one. I mean, obviously, a dual edge blade has some advantages. The serrated part of the blade gives you certain advantages with cutting, but I've always preferred plain edge blades, for the ease of sharpening, and also I like the look of a plain edge blade. Now, I also have another small out the front Microtech. This is the UTX-70. Now, this one is Dagger Edge, and this is L-Max also. Dual edge, and dagger, dagger style blade. Now, to be honest with you, I really wasn't all that interested in dual edge, but UTX-70s are so rare, they come out so seldom, that I just went on and bought this one simply because I did not know when a configuration I like more might turn up. And so I bought it. And in all honesty, the dual edge blade is better than I thought it would be in terms of utility, but still I prefer the single edge blade. Now, one of the things I really like about this blade is something that I wasn't expecting. Now, Microtech advertises this blade as being just a hair over 3 inches long, and with a cutting edge of about 2.88 inches. But when I put it on my ruler right here, it actually, it looks like, let me get it up here. There we go. The blade is actually just a hair under 3 inches. Looks like about 2.9 inches. And I would agree with Microtech that the cutting edge is about 2.8 or 2 3/4, somewhere in that area. I like this size of the knife being under 3 inches, since I live in Illinois. And in Illinois, although they formally don't have a blade limit here, when it comes to knives with blades over 3 inches, you need to be able to affirm that you have it as a tool and not a weapon. Whereas a blade under 3 inches, there's pretty much an assumption that it is a tool. Now, having said that, of course, these are out the front autos, double action, and of course that means that you can push the button on the side to open it, push the button on the side to close it, and frankly, even a little tiny dual action auto is intimidating to a lot of people. People who aren't familiar with pocket knives and people who don't collect them, they're going to find them somewhat intimidating. But I like the fact that they're smaller. That if I were in a push comes to shove situation, I could say, well, this is a legal size, and it's not something that is a de facto weapon. Interestingly enough, there actually is no state law in Illinois either about double-edged blades, although a lot of people would perceive these to be weapons too. Now, having said that, I wouldn't want a double-edged blade any bigger than the one on this UTX-70 because, 3.5-4 inch double-edged blade, even as a guy who collects pocket knives, when I see a double-edged that size, it just looks like a weapon to me. And if it looks like a weapon to me, then I know that for people who don't collect pocket knives, it'll look very weaponly. Now, one thing I will say about these glass breakers on the edge of these is that I found out, I won't go into any detail how I found out, but I found out that these glass breakers actually work pretty well as a stylus, if you have to sign your name electronically. I won't say how I found that out, but I was in a situation where the stylus was missing when I needed to be able to sign my name electronically. So I just used the glass breaker on my UTX-70, and just held it like it was a little pen, signed my name perfectly well. And I have to say that was a unforeseen use of the glass breaker on the end. But other than that, I just say, this is a nice light knife, not particularly heavy. I haven't done a whole lot of heavy duty cutting with the 85 yet. Now the 70 I've used a good bit more. I mean, if you look on it, it's a bit scuffed up already from where I've been carrying it. But you know, I really see these as knives that can function as EDC. I don't really want to have these just sitting around, you know, just for looks. I mean, I really think that these are some good, useful designs. They're light, pretty compact, and I don't see any point in just having them around just to show that I got them. And you know, the funny thing about it, I've never been super into out the fronts. You know, especially once I found out that, you know, the blades can have a little bit of wiggle in them. I mean, let me get in focus here. It has a little bit of side to side and a little bit of front and back wiggle. But the blade itself is put in there pretty securely. It's not going to snap on you or break. But as you know, as those of you all who are familiar with these designs know, that they have some of the wiggle just to allow them to function. But as I was saying before, you know, I really find these, you know, nice, usable pocket knives. I mean, the fact that they are, you know, so utterly one-handed is really nice. And then also the other thing too is that, you know, since so many modern side opening autos don't have safeties, I really like the double action autos because they're pretty safe knives. I mean, you really have to use significant pressure to open them and close them, especially open them. And so the odds of these accidentally opening in your pockets is pretty low. I know, for instance, I've had some bad luck with side openers without safeties opening up in my pocket. Matter of fact, the only side opener without a safety that I really feel comfortable with is Microtech LUDT. I mean, for whatever reason, that button is rock solid. It doesn't open unless you make it open. And but every other one without a safety on it, it seems like I found a way to have them accidentally open in my pocket. Maybe I'm just rough. Maybe I just carry too many things in my pocket. But that's something I've run into. Whereas that's never been an issue with an out the front. And so therefore, I'd say that I really do recommend both of these. The UTX, like I said, it's a nice little gent's knife. It's useful for a lot of light tasks. The UTX-85 is useful for, you know, larger tasks. You know, it feels even bigger than its size. I mean, the blade is just right under 3 inches, and it feels even bigger than its size. But as I said before, it's right in that size that I really like for pocket knives. I really like pocket knives with blades, you know, just under 3 inches, or maybe a smidge over 3 inches. But in terms of sheer legality, I really like knives with blades just a little under 3 inches. That way I don't have to worry if I ever ran into a situation where I had to explain myself to authorities, then that would put me within a safe legal zone, assuming I'm in a part of Illinois where autos are legal, because the automatic law in Illinois, although they're legal in the state, local communities do have the option of banning them if they want to. And so that makes carrying autos around the state, you know, a bit of a gamble. And so, you know, and so therefore I can understand why a lot of people wouldn't want to fool with them at all. But if you do have one, my advice just simply, as always, take out as needed. Do not flash or show what you have. People don't need to know what you have if you don't have a good reason to take it out. If you don't need to show it to people, don't show it to people. People don't need to know what you have. I mean, and I think that's just a good way to treat any tool. You know, especially any tool that is perceived to have a potential use as a weapon. That, you know, if you don't need to use it, keep it in your pocket. Now, I know I've kind of wandered a bit in this video, but once again, I just like to say I really like both of these. I think Microtech does a good job on these. They're not cheap, but at the same time, the prices aren't crazy. And, you know, I look at some of the other companies that are mass producing out the fronts. The prices are much higher than these. And they also tend to use steel that's not as up to date as the steels used in Microtech. I mean, these two happen to be LMAX, but they also make a lot in M690. I think they have some in CTS XHP. And so therefore, I like that aspect of Microtech. I know my LUDT is M390. But anyway, that's enough of that. As I said before, UTX-85, UTX-70, I think are just wonderful pocket knives, and I highly recommend them to anybody.